We are live.
We are live. Happy Armistice Day.
Indeed. That's definitely a thing that I knew that it was.
Yes. It's Blue's birthday, otherwise I wouldn't keep track either. But the yeah, it ties in. Tolkien fought in World War I. Armistice Day was to celebrate the end of all war, at the end of the Great War.
Checks out. This is not really related, but did I already tell you to tell Blue happy birthday for me?
Yes. And I did, and he said thank you.
Good.
He's 17 now.
I'm sorry, I'm going to need a minute.
I burnt my hand while I was cooking.
I'm sorry.
Chicken cordon bleu has been Blue's favorite meal since he was a girl. And very young is what I mean to say. And so that's what I made. But we didn't have a lot of chicken, so I bulked it out by making lava buns, and then I burnt myself on the pan while I was pulling lava buns out of the oven.
Guess that's why they call them lava buns.
Yeah, that and the fact that you dye them red and then smear a black crust on them, and they're really cute.
I was like, I really just want to eat bread for dinner, but I also had rice for lunch and bread for breakfast. So maybe I should pretend to include two food groups. So I warmed up some goat cheese and mixed some herbs in it and spread that on my bread.
There you go. I'm beginning to wonder if cutting bread is worth it or cutting wheat is worth it, because the incontinence to patient comes back regardless. I have a major flushing day with flushing drugs, and then I'm okay for, if I eat wheat, I'm okay for 3 to 4 days. If I don't eat wheat, I'm okay for 5 to 6 days. It doesn't feel like enough of a difference for the amount of sacrifice entailed.
Ah, man.
I need a nutritionist, because I could just spend the next couple of years going through and doing Whole30 diets or extra vinegar in my water or all of the various food experiments that you could do. Cut sugar.
And they wanted, douchebag McGee wanted you to do an MRI before he would refer you, right?
No, he gave me a referral to the surgeon. He didn't want to refer me to a nutritionist at all.
What did he? I'm going to be angry at the answer to this. What did he think the surgeon was going to do?
Be someone to pass the buck to, is what I'm assuming. He wants me to get the surgery. Shafi wants me to get the surgery. Probably shouldn't say his name. Everyone forget I said that.
His name's Douchebag McGee.
Douchebag McGee wants me to get the surgery. He went on at length about how anyone who's ever had any kind of pelvic radiation the way I have is going to end up with a colostomy bag sooner rather than later, so why wait? It was a speech that sounded very... right? Like...
Well, why wait is because you could have multiple years of your life left without a colostomy bag. I don't think that's a difficult question.
Right? Colostomy bag is for when you're done trying anything else, and people who have colostomy bags love them because they literally did try everything else and nothing worked, so they know that this was the only way, and I do not know that yet.
Right,
I have not exhausted my resources yet, and I feel a little like someone jumping the gun on my organs is not the person.
Yeah, I mean, like, if it ended up being the right solution, that would be perfectly fine. People have great quality of life. It's like not the end of the world, but it's like it's not been determined to be the right solution yet. Well,
yeah, shout out to everyone who does have a colostomy bag. I hear you, because we're all on I'm on a colorectal cancer support group, and people there are like, I love my bag. It's so much easier. I love my Barbie butt. It's so much easier. I'm like, I'm not there yet. I don't want to spend the next 50 years going, what if I'd tried abstaining from dairy and that would have been the thing? Which I haven't tried yet because it's dairy.
I mean, speaking as a recently lactose intolerant person, you'd be surprised how little you miss it.
I'm sure once you get over the no cheese jitters, at least you get to eat bread.
Yeah, and honestly, like, because I can still eat goat cheese, I don't miss cheese that much. I thought that I would, but I don't.
That's a good point. I really love goat cheese. I could totally go there. I feel like a nutritionist would be able to say, yes, I've seen plenty in your situation. Drink this much water, get this much fiber, and abstain from cheese and sugar or something. Try that out. Like somebody with expertise to say, try this thing. I'm afraid, like, my nutritionist worst case scenario is that they'll be like, try the whole 30 and come back to me in a month and we'll see how you're doing then. And I'll be like, in a family where 7 other people are eating everything, that's going to be so hard. But
I don't think
worth it.
I mean, granted, I'm not a nutritionist, but I don't think a nutritionist would recommend that to you just because it's so heavy on like protein and meat.
Right? Yeah, that's a very good point. That's not exactly a gut health diet. Maybe she would have a gut health diet to recommend, or he. I'm not sexist about my nutritionists.
We probably talked about this. Do you have like a primary care doctor that you can go to and just get the damn referral?
I did. He's just sitting on it. I got my shoulder x-rayed a month ago and he hasn't called me back about that for a totally different thing, but still he might be very, very busy with COVID.
I realize that there's a pandemic, but
yeah,
come on, return your calls.
Yeah, but I've got he said he'd get me a referral, and Srivastava, my oncologist, said they'd give me a referral to a nutritionist as well. The douchebag McGee is the only one who said no, that's going to be useless.
Yeah, because he's a flaming bag of dog poop. Like, I have nothing nice to say about the man, and I'm not sorry.
Does my heart good to hear you say that. Jason has not requested that we do a full-on like Noah's Ark lockdown, but he has very painfully refrained from requesting that, and so I think I'm going to try and do it for him, because he's like, I know what your social life means to you. I know that this is super important. I don't want to step on that. And also I can see him worrying because the numbers are so fucking scary right now. And I'm like,
yeah, I was trying to logistically figure out a way that I could come down there, and it just, with the way the numbers are,
nope.
I
don't even know if we're going to be able to get mom up here for Thanksgiving. Like, we might have to just leave some turkey on her porch and run.
Yeah. I don't know. I went and got a precautionary Q-tip up the nose today just to make sure, and I don't have any reason to think I'm sick, but I was just like,
they're saying
it's just
a new rather massive study, because epidemiologists have a whole lot to study right now. There's a lot of test cases for them. But they are saying now that it looks like that people who are asymptomatic, which is most people who get it, 60% are asymptomatic, are contagious for 70 days.
Great. Cool. That's fun.
So like, everyone who isn't fighting to breathe is a typhoid Mary.
Man, I was reading a thing. This is like full hearsay right now, but I was reading a thread on Twitter today from a woman who uh, got sick, and she's in like her 40s, so she was like, I was perimenopausal anyway, but after I had COVID, I stopped having periods. And there's like, of course, no study on what could be affected there, but she's just like, I'm just telling you, I haven't had one in 6 months.
It attacks the brain.
It attacks all kinds of
It
shit.
attacks it's some seriously fucked up shit that we want to not spread and not contract. So
Yeah.
my social life is going to have to be digital for till February, I guess. I'm glad I've got you here already. Don't need to set up a new. And we're already.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't, you know this about me, but I don't go out. My therapist was like, do you feel like, things are becoming more restrictive? And I was like, I have not changed what I'm doing since March. Like, like I never relaxed, so I'm not more anxious now.
Right. I had begun to relax. I have a group that I am going to game with once a month. I have my once a week outings with a couple of besties, and I can't be doing that if I mean, it's not just that it's I would jump on that if it was just me. I would take the risk if it was just me.
Exactly. The only thing like what I've been doing for the last 8 months has very, very few upsides. It's terrible and I hate it. But I know for a fact that I have not killed anyone.
Yeah.
And that's worth everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've got you remember Avi had mono for like 2 years when he was little.
Mhm.
It's one of the reasons he's undersized, because he would just every couple months stop eating for a week and have a fever. This would be devastating on him. I can't handle that. I
Yeah.
can't be responsible for it. I can't. No. Just no.
Just no.
And my father-in-law has a history of heart problems, and yeah, everybody here. It's we're one of the larger arcs.
Yeah. And it's like it's a terrible choice to have to make. I wish none of us had to make it.
Yeah. I also noticed in this last week that I've been scrolling more and more, not necessarily doom scrolling, just avoiding my own brain scrolling, and realized that was incredibly unhealthy and bad for me, and I'm up till 2 in the morning and I'm exhausted the next day and nothing useful got done, etc. So I'm taking a 2-week break from Facebook. I may well take a 2-week break from the news at the same time, because
I can highly recommend it.
yeah, me worrying about what Trump's people are doing isn't going to make them stop. Or they would have many, way longer than 4 years ago.
Yeah, what I have found comforting is a video I watched, and I'll try to find it and send it to you if you want, but it was a guy talking about how some of the decisions that Biden made during his campaign indicate that he knows who he's dealing with and he's like prepared for it. He was like, he got all these foreign policy consultants for his campaign, but foreign policy wasn't a campaign issue. So why did he hire them? Well, because now he has his own State Department.
That's a really good point. Like, you won't move out of the White House? Fine, we'll just do the job from over here.
Yep.
But yeah.
Anyways, we don't have to talk too much about that.
Oh my god, it was fucking terrifying. There were other dreams that same night about like a scavenger hunt, and I don't remember them anymore because I've already described them. But one of the dreams, the one in the middle, was that Joe Biden had kidnapped Mitch McConnell and had him strapped to a chair and was like cutting off his fingers one digit at a time.
What?
With that Joe smile on his face, like, are you gonna keep obstructing? Are you gonna keep obstructing? You don't want to keep obstructing. No? You're gonna say yes, no, like nothing? No? How about now? And I was watching it like it was a movie or something going, would it work? And I felt really bad. These are the dark, horrible things we learn about ourselves in these times.
Stuck in the middle with you. They don't call it gallows humor because it comes from a light and joyful place.
Wish I could remember the other ones because they were super harmless, and it was like a horror sandwich of dreams.
I keep having dreams where I'm back in the office at work, and I think to myself, isn't this unsafe? And then I wake up and I'm like, yes, that's why it's not happening.
Today I'm taking a little break also from the elements, and I'm working on a fresh tattoo design for Corin. His armband is going to be expanded upon, and he needed more Celtic, and I was like, I think I can do some Celtic.
Ooh, this week I discovered, have you ever heard of, I hope I'm going to say this right, Sean-Nos dancing? Or Sean-Nos? It is the traditional version, like from the west coast of Ireland, of step dancing. But it's like step dancing before it got really rigid and formalized.
Right, before the English.
Basically, yeah.
That's awesome. I shall look for it.
If you look up, oh gosh, now I want to remember what her name is. 1 second. Emma O'Sullivan is her name. She's like the national champion at this particular dance. But really cool. Highly recommend it.
Nice. I shall try it. Did you watch my video last Monday?
I have not watched a damn thing, so no, sorry.
Okay, it's okay. I haven't either. Except I did see, it was so wholesome and heartbreaking that there's a video of a 90-year-old woman with Alzheimer's who had been a prima ballerina.
I saw a description of that. I didn't actually watch the video.
It makes you cry. Kind of like beautiful tragic. Because she's got the choreography still. And it's beautiful. And she's in her chair doing all the gestures. And they keep intercutting it with footage of her dancing in her youth and doing the exact same choreography, except, on the stage. And you're like, Niagara Falls.
It's really lovely to think that even if we lost a lot, like you do with Alzheimer's, that there are some things that can't be taken away.
Right? It is. Time to read our Tolkien.
Indeed. I named this episode Palantir. I hardly know her.
It almost works, and that's close enough.
Exactly. Did we get to the end of the Palantir chapter? No, we did not. Okay.
Yep. End of a chapter.
I know. What kind of crazy talk?
Here. Wish
Gandalf left Pippin with Merry because he was upset on account of being psychologically tortured by the Dark Lord.
Yes.
And that's where we are.
Fair enough.
With that, Gandalf returned to the others, who were still standing by the Orthanc stone in troubled thought. Peril comes in the night when least expected, he said. We have had a narrow escape. How is the hobbit, Pippin? Asked Aragorn. I think all will be well now, answered Gandalf. He was not held long, and the hobbits have an amazing power of recovery. The memory, or the horror of it, will probably fade quickly. Too quickly, perhaps. Yeah, what a shame he's not going to be long-term traumatized.
Uh, it'll be just another lark, like the
Although
war he just fought, or the battle. I mean,
although I
ugh.
do slightly understand the like don't do that again. You're not going to have enough impact from this to make it really clear why it's a bad idea kind of thing, which can be
Yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah, like,
There's
have you learned your
definitely
lesson? No, you haven't. Of course you haven't.
exactly.
Why would
There's
you?
definitely times at my work when I'm like, I'm just gonna let you I know you're not enjoying this. I'm gonna let you continue to not enjoy it for just a few more minutes just to make a point. Um, don't turn on two-factor authentication because it's going to turn it on for everybody who uses this account. Oh, you turned on two-factor authentication. Cool. And you're getting 20 text messages a minute. Cool. So what did we learn?
Right.
So far, nobody's done that twice. It's what we call a self-reinforcing behavior. Anyway, let's see.
Yes,
Too
that's
quickly, perhaps. Will you, Aragorn, take the Orthanc stone and guard it? It is a dangerous charge. Dangerous indeed, but not to all, said Aragorn. Oh, here we go.
Mhm.
I'm the king, I'm so great. There is one who may claim it by right. For this assuredly is the Palantir of Orthanc from the treasury of Elendil, set here by the kings of Gondor. Now my hour draws near. I will take it. Gandalf looked at Aragorn, and then to the surprise of the others, he lifted the covered stone and bowed as he presented it. Receive it, Lord, he said, in earnest of other things that shall be given back. But if I may counsel you in the use of your own, do not use it yet. Be wary. When have I been hasty or unwary, who have waited and prepared for so many long years? Said Aragorn. Do we ever think about, like, what if Aragorn hadn't been, like, the dude to reclaim his birthright? Like, what if he had just been, like, a dude somewhere in the middle?
Right? One of the many, many, many ancestors in between.
Right? Like, I'm waiting and preparing to take back the throne of Elendil. Oh,
Or maybe
dear,
my
I'm
son
dead.
will.
Right. Should I marry this woman and make her a queen? Well, I'm gonna marry her, I guess. So are we getting to the king thing, or should I keep waiting, or can't help noticing this blade is still broken. Just saying.
It's been broken for 27 generations, guys. Come on.
Let's see. Never yet. Do not then stumble at the end of the road, answered Gandalf. But at the least keep this thing secret. You and all others that stand here. The hobbit Peregrine above all should not know where it is bestowed. The evil fit may come on him again. For alas, he has handled it and looked in it, as should never have happened. He ought never to have touched it in Isengard, and there I should have been quicker. But my mind was bent on Saruman, and I did not at once guess the nature of the stone. Then I was weary, and as I lay pondering it, sleep overcame me. Now I know. Yes, there can be no doubt, said Aragorn. At last we know the link between Isengard and Mordor, and how it worked. Much is explained. Strange powers have our enemies, and strange weaknesses, said Theoden. But it has long been said, oft evil will shall evil mar.
I
That
love
many
that sentence. I love it so much. I parse it every time I hear it.
that many times is seen, said Gandalf. But at this time we have been strangely fortunate. Maybe I have been saved by this hobbit from a grave blunder. I had considered whether or not to probe this stone myself to find its uses.
Whoa, now.
I was going to say, you can't just go around probing things, Gandalf. You're not an alien. Wait, you are an alien. Okay, I guess you can.
Because you can't. Get in, losers.
We're going probing?
We're doing butt stuff. You haven't seen the shirt?
No.
It's a picture of someone getting abducted by aliens, and the caption is "Get in, loser. We're doing butt stuff."
Oh, the internet.
Love, hate, hate, love. Like your mama, no?
God, what's that from?
Adam's Family. But I didn't hate my mother. It was an accident.
God, I haven't seen that in too long.
It's so good. It really does hold up. Anyway, so yes, grave blunder, probing stones, etc.
Had I done so, I should have been revealed to him myself. Again, you can't just go around revealing yourself. I am not ready for such a trial, if indeed I shall ever be so. But even if I found the power to withdraw myself, it would be disastrous for him to see me yet, until the hour comes when secrecy will avail no longer. That hour is now come, I think, said Aragorn. Not yet, said Gandalf. There remains a short while of doubt which we must use. The enemy, it is clear, thought that the stone was in Orthanc. Why should he not? And that therefore the hobbit was captive there, driven to look in the glass for his torment by Saruman. That dark mind will be filled now with the voice and face of the hobbit and with expectation. It may take some time before he learns his error. We must snatch that time. We have been too leisurely. We must move.
You also can't snatch at random, dude.
I'm saying, man.
Yeah.
The neighborhood of Isengard is no place now to linger in. I will ride ahead at once with Peregrine Took. It will be better for him than lying in the dock while others sleep. I will keep Eomer and 10 riders, said the king. They shall ride with me at early day. The rest may go with Aragorn and ride as soon as they have a mind. As you will, said Gandalf, but make all the speed you may to the cover of the hills, to Helm's Deep. At that moment, a shadow fell over them. The bright moonlight seemed to be suddenly cut off. Several of the riders cried out and crouched, holding their arms above their heads as if to ward off a blow from above. A blind fear and a deadly cold fell on them. Cowering, they looked up. A vast winged shape passed over the moon like a dark cloud. It wheeled and went north, flying at a speed greater than any wind of Middle-earth. The stars fainted before it. It was gone. They stood up, rigid as stones. Gandalf was gazing up, his arms out and downward, stiff, his hands clenched. Nazgul, he cried, the messenger of Mordor. The storm is coming. The Nazgul have crossed the river. Ride, ride. Wait not for the dawn. Let not the swift wait for the slow. Ride.
Bit of an asshole move there, but okay.
Right? What are we following the pirate code here?
Yeah. It's the wizard code. Everything that has ever been in any kind of fiction was stolen from Lord of the Rings.
Mary Shelley would be very surprised to hear that.
Okay, everything since then.
That I will accept. Oh, sorry. He sprang away, calling Shadowfax as he ran. Aragorn followed him. Going to Pippin, Gandalf picked him up in his arms. You shall come with me this time, he said. Shadowfax shall show you his paces. Then he ran to the place where he had slept. Shadowfax stood there already. Slinging the small bag, which was all his luggage, across his shoulders, the wizard leapt upon the horse's back. Aragorn lifted Pippin and set him in Gandalf's arms, wrapped in cloak and blanket. He's just like a little hobbit burrito.
Also, people are constantly picking up hobbits and just sort of moving them around, and I'm like, I'd be kind of pissed about that if I were a hobbit.
I mean, you know that I am a person who has an absolutely massive hatred of being picked up. So yes, I would also not pick it.
Yeah, I would. No.
Let's see.
What's wrong with you? I picked up that hobbit and it stabbed me. Didn't
That'd
even
be
have
me.
to.
Yep, that'd be me as a hobbit.
What did we learn?
Full circle. Farewell, follow fast, cried Gandalf. Away, Shadowfax. The great horse tossed his head. His flowing tail flicked in the moonlight. Then he leapt forward, spurning the earth, and was gone like the north wind from the mountains. A beautiful, restful night, said Merry to Aragorn. Some folk have wonderful luck. He did not want to sleep, and he wanted to ride with Gandalf. And there he goes, instead of being turned into a stone himself to stand here forever as a warning. If you had been the first to lift the Orthanc stone, and not he, how would it be now? Said Aragorn. You might have done worse. Who can say? And now it is your luck to come with me, I fear, at once. Go and get ready, and bring anything that Pippin left behind. Make haste. I feel bad for Merry at this point. He was so fucking tired.
He was so fucking tired. It's been like 2 hours, though, so he's had a nap.
Oh, sometimes that's worse.
Yeah, right.
Excuse me, world. Sorry to show you my tonsils there. Okay. Over the plains, Shadowfax was flying, needing no urging and no guidance. Less than an hour had passed, and they had reached the fords of Isen and crossed them. The mound of the riders and its cold spears lay gray behind them. Pippin was recovering. He was warm, but the wind in his face was keen and refreshing. He was with Gandalf. The horror of the stone and of the hideous shadow over the moon was fading, things left behind in the mists of the mountains or in a passing dream. He drew a deep breath. I did not know you rode bareback, Gandalf, he said. You haven't a saddle or a bridle. I do not ride elf fashion, except on Shadowfax, said Gandalf. But Shadowfax will have no harness. You do not ride Shadowfax. He is willing to carry you, or not. If he is willing, then that is enough. It is then his business to see that you remain on his back, unless you jump off into the air. How fast is he going? Asked Pippin. Fast by the wind, but very smooth. And how light his footfalls are. He is running now as fast as the swiftest horse could gallop, answered Gandalf, but that is not fast for him. The land is rising a little here, and is more broken than it was beyond the river. But see how the white mountains are drawing near under the stars. Yonder are the three-horned peaks, like black spears. It will not be long before we reach the branching roads and come to the Deeping Combe, where the battle was fought 2 nights ago. Pippin was silent again for a while. He heard Gandalf singing softly to himself, murmuring brief snatches of rhyme in many tongues as the miles ran under them. At last, the wizard passed into a song of which the hobbit caught the words. A few lines came clear to his ears through the rushing of the wind. Tall ships and tall kings, 3 times 3. What brought they from the foundered land over the flowing sea? 7 stars and 7 stones
and one
and 1 white tree.
What are the 7 stars?
I don't know, but they're in the Minas Tirith crest.
Yeah, the flag, the crest, they're there, but what are they?
Are they not the stars in the Mirror?
I thought that was the Mirror had to do with dwarfish.
It does, but I don't know if it's related in some way.
If you know,
well,
hey,
but
Internet,
hang on.
you know what the 7 stars are that are brought from Numenor?
I may be wrong because hang on. Let me look and see how many stars are over Durin's crown. If I can find that picture. There we go. It is 7.
Yes, but there were 7 rings given to the dwarves, so I'm wondering if the 7 stars over Durin's crown have anything to do with the 7 stars brought from Numenor?
I don't know, because the 7 stars that over Durin's crown are the 7 stars that you see when you look into Mirror.
Right. Well, you don't see 7 stars, though. You just see stars, no matter whether it's daylight or not.
I thought it was like a particular number. Maybe. Well, I don't know. We'll have to. I don't know.
Do the research. That's why we're Tolkien heads. Well, that's why I am. I love this shit.
You do way more of the research than me. I was just sitting here thinking, like, should I say that I'm not going to do it?
When I say we'll do the research, I understand what that means.
Good. What are you saying, Gandalf? Asked Pippin. I was just running over some of the rhymes of lore in my mind, answered the wizard. Hobbits, I suppose, have forgotten them, even those that they ever knew. No, not all, said Pippin.
Right?
We're not so dumb, man. And we have many of our own, which wouldn't interest you, perhaps. But I have never heard this one. What is it about? The 7 stars and the 7 stones. Oh, hey, we just got ruled, because he's about to say. About the... Oh, no, because that's the 7 stones. We were talking about the 7 stars.
Yeah.
About the Palantir of the kings of old, said Gandalf. And what are they? The name meant that which looks far away. The Orthanc stone was one. Then it was not made... Pippin hesitated. By the enemy. No, said Gandalf, nor by Saruman. It is beyond his art, and beyond Sauron's too. The Palantiri came from beyond Westerness, from Eldamar. The Noldor made them. Feanor himself, maybe, wrought them, in days so long ago that the time cannot be measured in years. But there is nothing that Sauron cannot turn to evil uses. Alas for Saruman! It was his downfall, as I now perceive. And perilous to us all are the devices of an art deeper than we possess ourselves. Yet he must bear the blame. Fool, to keep it secret for his own profit. No word did he ever speak of it to any of the council. We had not yet given thought to the fate of the Palantiri of Gondor and its ruinous wars. By men they were almost forgotten. Even in Gondor they were a secret known only to a few. In Arnor they were remembered only in a rhyme of lore among the Dunedain. One moment.
Sorry, do you remember the sketch, the Monty Python sketch, where it's John Cleese in drag being interviewed, and he clears his throat enough times that you can see Graham Chapman trying really hard not to laugh?
I don't remember that one.
Oh, it's the one with the I have a theory about the Brontosaurus, and it is mine, and it belongs to me, and that one.
Don't remember it, but it sounds delightful.
It's delightful.
Well, What did the men of old use them for? Asked Pippin, delighted and astonished at getting answers to so many questions, and wondering how long it would last. That's true, Gandalf is answering questions here. I can take that calendar alert off my phone. Although I might just leave it on just for future me next October to be like, what the fuck?
It's not Robin's birthday yet. Why?
To see far off, and to converse in thought with one another, said Gandalf. In that way they long guarded and united the realm of Gondor. They set up stones at Minas Anor, at Minas Ithil, and at Orthanc in the Ring of Isengard. The chief and master of these was under the Dome of Stars at Osgiliath before its ruin. The 3 others were far away in the north. In the house of Elrond, it is told that they were at Anúminas and Amon Sul, and Elendil's stone was on the tower hills that look towards Mithlond, in the Gulf of Lune where the grey ships lie. Each Palantir replied to each, but all those in Gondor were ever open to the view of Osgiliath. Now it appears that, as the rock of Orthanc has withstood the storms of time, so there the Palantir of that tower has remained. but alone it could do nothing but see small images of things far off and days remote. Very useful, no doubt, that was to Saruman, yet it seems that he was not content. Further and further abroad he gazed until he cast his gaze upon Barad-dûr. Then he was caught. Who knows where the lost stones of Arnor and Gondor now lie, buried or drowned deep? But one at least Sauron must have obtained and mastered to his purposes. I guess that it was the Ithil stone, for he took Minas Ithil long ago and turned it into an evil place. Minas Morgul it has become. Easy it is now to guess how quickly the roving eye of Saruman was trapped and held, and how ever since he has been persuaded from afar, and daunted when persuasion would not serve. The biter bit, the hawk under the eagle's foot, the spider in a steel web. How long, I wonder, has he been constrained to come often to his glass for inspection and instruction, and the Orthanc stone so bent towards Barad-dûr that, if any save a will of adamant now looks into it, it will bear his mind and sight swiftly thither. And how it draws one to itself! Have I not felt it? Even now my heart desires to test my will upon it, to see if I could not wrench it from him and turn it where I would. To look across the wide seas of water and of time to Tirion the Fair, and perceive the unimaginable hand and mind of Fëanor at their work, while both the white tree and the golden were in flower. He sighed and fell silent. I wish I had known all of this before, said Pippin. I had no notion of what I was doing. Oh yes, you had, said Gandalf. You knew you were behaving wrongly and foolishly, and you told yourself so, though you did not listen. I did not tell you all this before, because it is only by musing on all that has happened that I have at last understood, even as we ride together. But if I had spoken sooner, it would not have lessened your desire, or made it easier to resist. On the contrary. No, the burned hand teaches best. After that, advice about fire goes to the heart. It does, said Pippin. If all the 7 stones were laid out before me now, I should shut my eyes and put my hands in my pockets. Good, said Gandalf. That is what I hoped. But I should like to know, Pippin began. Mercy, cried Gandalf. If the giving of information is to be the cure of your inquisitiveness, I shall spend all the rest of my days in answering you. I gave you one answer one time. What more do you want from me, man?
That's it. That's all you're getting.
What more do you want to know? The names of all the stars, and of all living things, and the whole history of Middle-earth and over heaven, and of the sundering seas, laughed Pippin. Of course,
Oh.
what less? But I am not in a hurry tonight. At the moment, I was just wondering about the Black Shadow. I heard you shout, Messenger of Mordor. What was it? What could it do at Isengard? It was a black rider on wings, a Nazgul, said Gandalf. It could have taken you away to the Dark Tower. But it was not coming for me, was it? Faltered Pippin. I mean, it didn't know that I had... Of course not, said Gandalf. It is 200 leagues or more in straight flight from Barad-dûr to Orthanc, and even a Nazgul would take a few hours to fly between them. But Saruman certainly looked in this stone since the Orc raid. More of his secret thought, I do not doubt, has been read than he intended. A messenger has been sent to find out what he is doing. And after what has happened tonight, another will come, I think, and swiftly. So Saruman will come to the last pinch of the vice that he has put his hand in. He has no captive to send. He has no stone to see with, and cannot answer the summons. Sauron will only believe that he is withholding the captive and refusing to use the stone. It will not help Saruman to tell the truth to the messenger. For Isengard may be ruined, yet he is still safe in Orthanc. So, whether he will or no, he will appear a rebel. Yet he rejected us, so as to avoid that very thing. What he will do in such a plight I cannot guess. He has power still, I think, while in Orthanc, to resist the 9 riders. He may try to do so. He may try to trap the Nazgul, or at least to slay the thing on which it now rides the air. In that case, let Rohan look to its horses.
We never do find out how that meeting went.
Yeah, I would love to read that fic.
Right?
Although it would mostly be Saruman going, I don't know, and the Nazgul being like, we know that you know. No, I don't. Like, I don't suppose it was a very productive conversation when I think about it.
Right.
Let's see. But I cannot tell how it will fall out, well or ill for us. It may be that the counsels of the enemy will be confused or hindered by his wrath with Saruman. It may be that he will learn that I was there and stood upon the stairs of Orthanc with hobbits at my tail, or that an heir of Elendil lives and stood beside me. If Wormtongue was not deceived by the armor of Rohan, he would remember Aragorn and the title that he claimed. That is what I fear. And so we fly, not from danger, but into greater danger. Every stride of Shadowfax bears you nearer to the land of shadow, Peregrine Took. Pippin made no answer, but clutched his cloak as if a sudden chill had struck him. Grey land passed under them. We are very close to the end of this chapter. I'm going to finish it.
All right, cool.
See now, said Gandalf, the Westfold dales are opening before us. Here we come back to the eastward road. The dark shadow yonder is the mouth of the Deeping Combe. That way lies Aglarond and the glittering caves. Do not ask me about them. Ask Gimli if you meet again, and for the first time you may get an answer longer than you wish. You will not see the caves yourself, not on this journey. Soon they will be far behind. I thought you were going to stop at Helm's Deep, said Pippin. Where are you going, then? To Minas Tirith, before the seas of war surround it. Oh, and how far is that? Leagues upon leagues, answered Gandalf. Thrice as far as the dwellings of King Theoden, and they are more than 100 miles east from here, as the messengers of Mordor fly. Shadowfax must run a longer road, which will prove the swifter. We shall ride now till daybreak, and that is some hours away. Then even Shadowfax must rest in some hollow of the hills. At Edoras, I hope. Sleep if you can. You may see the first glimmer of dawn upon the golden roof of the House of Eorl. And in 2 days thence you shall see the purple shadow of the Mount Mindoluin and the walls of the Tower of Denethor white in the morning. Away now, Shadowfax. Run, great heart, run as you have never run before. Now we are come to the lands where you are foaled, and every stone you know. Run now. Hope is in speed. Shadowfax tossed his head and cried aloud, as if a trumpet had summoned him to battle. Then he sprang forward. Fire flew from his feet. Night rushed over him. As he fell slowly into sleep, Pippin had a strange feeling. He and Gandalf were still as stone, seated upon the statue of a running horse, while the world rolled away beneath his feet with a great noise of wind.
And then it takes another 200 pages to get back to them because we have to go with Frodo and Sam.
Yes. Not a ideal narrative structure.
No, I remember hearing someone, and I can't remember who, bitching about Shelob not being in the second movie, and it's like, she wasn't in that part of the timeline because Tolkien doesn't do cross-cutting. So, cope. Yep. So, how do we feel about this here tree? There's extra tattoo that goes on at these ends of these things.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I was wondering what those were.
Yeah, they go off into other stuff. But it's kind of large, but he's got a really big arm.
I mean, you're going to have to scale it down. No one's arm is that big.
It might wrap.
How I mean, how much space does he have?
This is the same size as the tattoo that we're covering up.
Oh, it's a cover-up?
Well, not a cover-up exactly, but there's a sort of a tree. And we're going to make it a better tree.
Okay. So, but like, he doesn't have other tattoos on that part of his arm, though?
I don't remember.
You may want to check. It's just it's gonna take his, like, if it's on his upper arm, it's gonna be like a half sleeve.
It's totally a half sleeve. I think he was asking for a half sleeve. I'll have to find out. But he was asking for Celtic knots, and you know me and Celtic knots. I just kind of don't know when to stop.
Yeah, I think it's very pretty. I'm not sure how I feel.
Or is it too knotted and not tree-ish enough?
I feel like that might be what is. Something's nagging me about like the leaf placement. It's like the fact that it's just around the outside edge makes it feel a little bit less tree-ish than
right. Yeah,
my heart wants it to be.
I dig. Also, branches don't grow in those directions, but
I'm less worried about that.
It is merely a thing, and you could probably fill in the background with a leaf behind that part of the Celtic knot leaf texture.
You could, but then it would. I feel like it needs a little bit more treeosity.
Treeness. Arboreality.
I like arboreality. Treeness sounds like a euphemism or a medical condition.
Does it? I thought it sounded more like something you would call someone who was wearing a crown of leaves. Your treeness.
Just sounds like penis to me.
Oh. Yeah.
This alien race doesn't just have a penis, they have a treeness.
Got wood.
All right, it's time for us to go.
All right, yeah, it sure is. I love you.
I love you too.
See you Monday.
Yes, indeedy.
Cuidado.
Me amas.